Welcome back to the coverage for the Italian Open 2024 in Rome. We are now in round 3 and we are witnessing an historical event here in the city of Rome to crown what will be the second, again, Italian Open champion for the year. And we have yet another previous former Open champion, although not quite the Italian Open. It was Cefola Alessio, who won the UK Open back with Castira, and has had a few seasons, I gotta say, really incredible, with a lot of top cut finishes. Not quite the win, outside of obviously the UK Open, which was, I think, a very impressive undefeated performance. And he's playing what is considered by many Italian deck, we could say, which is Floowandereeze.
Yeah, I mean, like, I talked to him before the event, and he hasn't played for a while, so he was not feeling that confident. But he felt confident with the deck, and he's working out well. I mean, I like the deck list, so the approach, and also, like, I think facing Floowandereeze, it's always not easy.
No,
So
it's definitely scary. The deck by itself is always a very impressive engine, but what's the really impressive part of the deck is that it can play so many cards that can just completely steal the game, from Dimension Shifter to Featherstorm to Rivalry. So it has a lot of very annoying options. And he's actually facing off against a deck which is not quite lined up to perform, because Jacopo, his opponent, is on branded Despia. And again, one of those decks that can really shut down their opponents thanks to the gimmick Pappenheimer lock. Unfortunately, that does not quite work against Floowandereeze, so that will be interesting to see. I gotta inform you, though, that the opponent, so Jacopo, already forfeited the game 1 to prevent some information, essentially, during the match as they were starting out. So we will dive into game 2 directly. So Alessio leading 1-0 with his Floowandereeze decks. Is gonna be Floowandereeze against branded Despia. Let's find out who will be the winner of the match. And here they are, as mentioned, and as you can see, Alessio leading this match, but now it will be Jacopo who performs his combo. But I think we can expect him to go for a interesting line, because the lock doesn't work against Floowandereeze. So maybe he wants to just extend, put some of his fusions, Mirror Jade, and so on, maybe a branded in red into Chimera on the field. That will be interesting to see. On the other hand, of course, unless we see a Dimension Shifter, we can expect Alessio to just, sit back. And this will not be the case. Also, because, it would be a punish, because Okay, interesting opening. High Spirit, and as you can see, this is a pretty cute opener.
I like it,
by
honestly.
Jacopo.
Yeah. And still, I think that the branded Despot deck is very consistent. And I mean, I still like the interactions and how they play against basically most of the hand traps in the current format, right? So it's still, I mean, the shifter, I mean, yeah, by itself is, shuts down entirely the strategy of the deck. But
it can be annoying. You can still do some cheeky lines with the Lubellion shuffling back, but it definitely gets things tougher. And I mean, branded is always an interesting deck. It can do so much, but it always seems to miss that winning performance, mainly due to inconsistency and the famous Ash Blossom and branded fusion issue, we could say. But the deck has changed a lot, and cards like Fusion Duplication with Thrust, which is played by Jacopo, made it so that you can play around Ash much better nowadays.
last time you played Brandy, I was not like it's the winning performance, right?
Yeah, kind of not, kind of not. So let's see what he will go for.
Seems very solid opening from Jacopo with the Aluber as well. And It doesn't seem as if Alessio has any sort of interruptions on his side, which is good news from Jacopo. And let's see how he'll continue to take it from there, because now the Aluber is going to resolve. I take the branded lost.
And yeah, as expected here, you have so many different ways of advancing through your combos. It being the Gragugnol, which usually would be used to send, as mentioned, a Gimmick Pup and Nightmare. I don't think that will be the case in this specific duel, but let's see.
And here comes the branded fusion. Very solid opening from Jacopo. And yeah, Alessio allows it. So we will see some stuff here from the branded player. This is a very good
this
opening.
is so strong. As mentioned, it is true that playing against Floowandereeze can be difficult. At the same time, the good news is, as mentioned, you don't expect that many entraps, so you can overextend pretty confidently. And in this case, for example, you can access the Mercurier and have more interruptions. And the only thing is you're forced to take the grind game approach. But this could be obviously working out for Jacopo. And yeah.
And knowing that you are basically facing Floowandereeze, like, is there anything specific you'd like to aim for, like or very first turn?
I think
or...
you need to diversify. I guess that there are a few scary things, which is Floowandereeze tend to play a lot of, we can say, cards like Pot of Duality and Prosperity, which get them to their side deck cards. And one in particular I have in mind is Evenly Matched. We saw it in the previous round with Vincenzo, but I think it's tough to overextend and not play too much into Evenly. Because in general, if you just want to ignore Evenly, you can get the Mercurier, you can get, branded in red, and a lot of different interruptions. But yeah, Evenly should be definitely a concern, because if you overextend into it, you can just lose the game right away. But for now, he's playing pretty smoothly and just making a lot of advantage at the moment. As you can see here, Borlot Fusion, a lot of options, and here is probably the turning point of deciding how much to go all in and what to play around, essentially.
Yeah, especially because like he knows that Alessio might have side in some cards, but on his on the other hand, though, I mean, looking at the Jacopo's deck list, I mean, we can tell that he's of course not prepared against Floowandereeze, but I mean, it also makes sense, no? Because
no, absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, so here we see the Gragugnol. Let's see what the target will be. Again, a lot of options. Not gonna be the gimmick, I think. No, doesn't make any sense. And yeah, he's just considering one of his options. Gonna go for an advantage type of opening. On the other side, Alessio has the evenly I mentioned in the main deck actually, and in the side deck he has cards like Dark Lurer No More or RP Feather Duster, which could also be pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting to see those. And as mentioned, the really good thing about cards like Duality and Prosperity is how easily you can access those cards once you side deck. So,
but also like Floowandereeze is very consistent. No, we have seen in over the last, I don't know, maybe 2 years, something like that. So it's I mean, it's one of the main reasons why the deck is still good. And I mean, as you mentioned before, Alessio is a very experienced player. And yeah, I mean, like if he goes deeper into the tournament, this will be one of those decks you really don't want to play against.
Oof!
Wow.
And just as we mentioned, the 6th card is the evenly matched pick up by Alessio. Let's see how he wants to play around this. Wow, we could just see enter bottom face into evenly matched. And yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world for Jacopo. Yeah, I don't know. Jacopo needs to be a little careful here. And the end looks kind of promising from Alessio.
Yeah, he declared battle phase.
I think he did declare battle phase, and now it's up to Jacopo decide what to do. But yeah, we did mention him. The card is there. A lot of decks can be hurt by the evenly. Let's see what play Jacopo wants to go for. He can get another search with Lost, which is nice. And yeah, goes for a fusion summon. It just mirror jade into. No, it's gonna be Sanctifier most likely, right? Yeah. Sense. Now you get a search. And you can get cards back with Quem if you really want. But now, again, he needs to be a little careful about how he wants to play with this. I think this makes a lot of sense. It's a really good way to play around evenly matched. Because you can give your opponent a monster and then they cannot really, for example. But should be the case. And yeah, as you can see here, well played. Evenly can be obviously annoying, but this is a good way to play around the card. Giving your opponent a monster, then they cannot use evenly. So essentially, you force your opponent to use the red into maybe not a great card. So this could also be a bluff by Alessio, but works out for now.
I mean, well played by Jacopo, on the other hand. I mean, if your opponent has the evil match, you still have to do it, right? So it's... Let's see now if Alessio can come up with anything else.
And here comes one of the cards we mentioned, Pot of Duality. A lot of interesting options. Oh, okay. I guess that's an easy choice. So, but actually, Alessio's thinking about it, which makes me, wonder whether he has already a copy of the Quick Spell Advent in his hand. Interesting. Wow. Really thinking about this.
This may be unfortunate for him if he's holding into another one in his hand. And revealing Attitude Dualities, honestly, it's just...
No, definitely. And that's enough, actually. Wow. So quick game one and even quicker in a way game two. As you can see, just didn't think that could happen. Maybe he was looking for a monster right there. And overall, although he did open the evenly matched, Jacopo played it pretty well with the Sanctifier, giving his opponent a monster and preventing the card from being activated. So now the score is even, is 1-1, and we will actually dive into game 3 soon enough. But obviously the situation is quite similar, quite different, because again, these are decks that don't really play Entrops. The same can be said by Jacopo. He has 0 Entrops in his main deck. I think only maybe a random Bestial. Yeah, that's it. Just the random Saronir, which you usually use for comboing off. And this means that, again, Alessio, unless he bricks, should be able to set up a pretty nice turn 1 with Floowandereeze. And that's scary, because, as mentioned, there are a lot of annoying cards. On top of everything, RP Feather Storm, which I think is one of the strongest trap card ever released, probably in Yu-Gi-Oh! And when you can back that up with maybe an Apex Avian to just protect you, I think it's solid. On the other hand, Jacopo going second as his own copies of Evenly, so that's something that could come in. Outside of that, I guess a few cards, but nothing too special. There is some consideration for Dark Ruler to maybe stop again the Apex, but nothing too exciting from that side. He will just rely on his engine and try and push as much damage as possible. The good news, I guess, is that if he's not facing the RP Feather Storm, there is a lot of, it changes.
It changes entirely, I would say.
From night and day,
yeah. Like, looking at the Alessio deck list, honestly, I think the Evenly match will go out and Ash Blossom will go in, basically. Maybe nothing else.
Pretty much. Yeah, I think so. Pretty straightforward. Again, maximum consistency from Alessio. He has 6 copies of these pots, Duality and Prosperity. And then maximizing the engine cards. So makes sense. Regardless, only one of these 2 duelists will be able to advance with a 3-0 record. Looking good in what is a third of the duels. 9 rounds today. And as there will be no top cut, you need to win as much as possible, because the winner will most likely be on a 9-0 or maybe 8-1, 8-1 draw score, so you really cannot afford to lose more than one match. But our duelists are ready, so let's find out who will be the winner of Game 3. And here they are once again. Yeah, having a final cut games. Maybe he will regret this if he opens an amazing end. And let's find out what Alessio has in store. I see a lot of traps, and this could be a very bad sign. But I think I also saw a Robina. No, Robina is there.
Okay.
Oof. Then this could completely be broken, because I think I saw a rivalry. But yeah, we start things off with Advent into Empen. No response. I think it all comes down to this resolving, and the good news is, as mentioned, I don't think we're gonna see much of a response from Jacopo. This looks really, really promising from Alessio.
Yeah, nice start from him with the fill spell plus the Rubina, and I think he will also be able to set up the RP Feather Storm as well. And here the Eagle gets banished and he gets it back. And yeah, it looks very promising, honestly. We thought for a second that he didn't have anything going on, but you know, that's not the case. He also has the rivalry. And
yeah, the one-off rivalry a card is quite scary, and we have seen in this first few rounds has been played in the main deck by every single deck that can afford it. So not a joke. And I think yes, he has that Feather Storm as well. This is looking insane. Maybe the last cut from Jacopo was regretted. What a end from Alessio. And yeah, he has that so much that he could set up the Apex play in the following turn to play around, again, evenly matched or cards like that. But yeah, on top of a Feather Storm, it's really, really, really tough to play. And I mean, there are not really many cards that can stop it. So this is exactly what's going on right now. And Alessio is not stopping anytime. Free trap cards.
this is very promising.
And
especially because like Jacopo doesn't have any apart from evenly match, he doesn't have Cosmic Secret, for example, no, to deal with Alessio's back row. So kind of tough, but you know.
And now he can get the Apex most likely. Yeah, seems like that's what he's going for. And yeah, there it is. So Apex Avian set up, and he actually goes for it right away. Okay, doesn't want to risk anything. We were expecting maybe, you know, just a hold. Instead, playing it as safe as possible. And I do like this. Not taking any risks. And play is back to Jacopo, who needs a miracle. Obviously, up until now, he still has some hope, because he doesn't know about Rivalry and Featherstorm. But when you have full knowledge of what's going on, this is almost an unbreakable opener. Wow.
Let's see here now how he starts things off.
Okay, he does so with Branded Fusion, which is a pretty good way to start things off. And you can see Alessio debating whether even to just go for a negation or chain the, one of these face down. Be the storm right away. And instead, it is the rivalry. Okay. Interesting choice here. We know that, you know, Jacopo doesn't really have a way to deal with this rivalry at the moment in his deck. But he does actually have some interesting side deck options. One of them being Shadow Dragon, which is actually, if it wasn't for the storm, you could send it here and, you know, try and play with that. And there you can see him actually debating quite a bit what to do. It's not an easy decision. On the bright side, they only spent about 20 minutes for the first 2 duels, so they have plenty of time left for this game 3, where gonna count the most. And yeah, the card resolved. Let's see if he wants to go for this Shadow Dragon option, or if he's just trying to push some damage here.
It's not easy. It's taking some time to.
No, it's definitely a tough decision. Obviously the Apex is still there, and yeah, it does go for the Shadow Dragon, and you can see Alessio picking it up. Did not expect the card to be there, and he's not really gonna get punished because we have full knowledge of the RP Feather Storm, but still, you know, it's something that I really like as an option in the side deck from the branded player. But yeah, here we see the really bad news from Jacopo. RP Feather Storm, what a card, shutting down everything for this turn.
This serves a lot, huh? Changes everything.
Absolutely.
Basically, because Apex plus Rivalry plus the Feather Storm is
yeah, it's almost a checkmate opening, and it will now back to him, but we might even see just a pass here if there is not much to push forward. Jacopo having a think right now, his only hope is again protecting himself with this Lubellion. And yeah, it seems like he... No, yeah, he's not really sure how to maneuver this. Okay, now he has taken his decision and he proceeds with Nadir Servant. Pretty good card in the deck, which allows you to take it a little slower, but gain significant advantage in return. For example, accessing a branded in red and just playing the game in a different way. So this gives him somewhat of an hope. And it's gonna resolve. I think he now has full knowledge of what's going on, because this face down is an Explore Winds, and he knows the 2 cards in hand are you know, the Robina and the Toucan. So I guess if there is a good news, that is that he knows everything. The problem is those cards are actually quite nice. So his idea is, which can be an issue, because when you are really experienced with Floowandereeze, what you can do is also go for some loops where you use Raiza, the Mega Monarch, to shuffle back cards like RP Featherstorm to the top and just recycle them. But now we see an Allure of Darkness come down.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's trying, you know, to stay in this. It's not gonna be easy, but
no, obviously,
yeah. Alessio is debating whether to negate it with the Apex. Would you go for it, honestly? Like,
no, I don't know. I don't see what can go wrong. I mean, you know, you're already resolved the Featherstorm. So even if they banish, you know, a Mercurial or a Tragedy, doesn't matter. So this is essentially a Upstart Goblin almost. Obviously, you see 2 cards, you switch one out. I think on his side, he really wants to prevent the triple tactics card as well, because those could be a way to come back into the game. So if he can, he's probably never going to use this Apex this turn.
Yeah.
Now we see a Brandon in Ice Spirits, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, which I think is fine, no? Because I don't think this matters a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he also maybe is trying to force the Apex, right?
Yeah.
From Alessio's side.
Yeah, it's a critical point of the duel. As you can see here, Jacopo gonna try and play around this rivalry as much as possible, but it's making things a little weirder for him. And now he gets access to this Mercurier. The issue is, once again, that doesn't do much right now. It's taking the long game, and I think he's about done with this turn. Question is Alessio gonna pull the trigger and go for the unexplored wins now, or gonna wait for his own turn? Obviously, he can go for game if he does now. And I think that's why, as you can see, he's really, really debating whether that would be nice or not. But
I think it will take the chance, honestly, right? Because
yeah, because I mean, you can take two approaches, which I do think you go for it. It's that you can take the approach of just torturing kind of your opponent with this loop of the unexplored wins, or you can just try and go for game next turn, which is totally doable here. Thanks mostly to the rides you can access. So here you have a nice loop, which you can use this tree to just either get rid of your opponent cards or just get rid of your own Ampen Engrave and then recover it with the Toucan. So, I mean, a lot of the usual stuff we have seen, but this should be the, should be the Raiza.
Yeah.
And it is. Makes sense. This is so great. Again, you can use it both to put that back or to just get rid of both the Lubellion and the face down, and this is so strong. And as you can see here, he is gonna go for the safe line and just try and push for game. And yeah, you can see, unfortunately, Jacopo looking a little unhappy about the situation. There is nothing he can do. Gonna have to watch his opponent combo off. And I think, yeah, he's debating about it. There is no real merit to this unexplored wind if not chain blocking, but it seems like he is gonna go for this loop with the RP Feather Storm that I mentioned.
Makes sense.
Essentially, next turn he goes for game. In case there is a miracle stopping this from happening, he has the RP Feather Storm. And this pretty much seals the game and is maneuvered really, really well by Alessio.
Yeah, well played by him. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, there goes the handshake after a very strong opening by Alessio. There was just nothing his opponent could do, and a swift victory by the Floowandereeze players. We can go back to us for the post-match discussion. Definitely an unusual match, as mentioned, but in the end, it could have been maybe a matter of die roll. It could have been just a matter of an unfortunate matchup because Jacopo's strategy was that to shut down his opponent's special summons with the Give Me Pappenheimer. Yep. Turns out not so great against Floowandereeze, and that's just how it goes, but still. Very good show of what the deck can do, especially in the last game from Floowandereeze. It's still a deck that's very much alive. It should be threatened, and sometimes where you're not prepared for it, when you don't have the side deck options, it's quite tough.
No, but like in general, I mean, as you mentioned, I think it's scary to play against Floowandereeze in general, because like it may be that you're not prepared for the deck, and also like the brand that is like focused on your opponent's special summons, right? So it's, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was well played in game 2, especially because like I think Alessio didn't have any sort of interruption, and also the duality itself was, you know, like he revealed 2 of them. And I mean, in general, I would say that going into the tournament and now you're sitting on a 3-0 record, honestly, I would never like to play against Alessio.
No, as you mentioned, I mean, it is a very diverse event, a lot of different decks, but this is still a deck that requires a lot of respect. It is in a weird stage at the moment because there are still a lot of end traps in usual decks, and we know that, you know, Vader, Impermanence, and these kind of cards are annoying for Floowandereeze. Yeah. So I'm not too convinced on it, but I think the deck list is quite solid. It has a lot of what it takes, especially going first. But even when you lose the die roll, he has some interesting tech. We haven't seen a lot of, you know, everything that the deck can offer, but it was still a solid performance. Regardless, though, thank you guys for being with us. This was the end of round 3. We still have 6 more to go, so don't go anywhere because we'll be back soon with more live action from Rome.